Hello and welcome to the Metapod of Pokemon TCG podcast that revolves around the evolving meta. This is going to be an interesting episode because it is me here, Jake, again, here for another week. Surprise, but Sean is actually out this week. He's been very, very busy. He's been working real hard, especially with all of his like webcam events and different things like that. And he's come up a little bit ill, so it's just going to be a solo episode this week. Just me, but don't worry, we've got some things that we can talk about today, some excellent stuff. I didn't want to miss a podcast week as usual, so there's a lot that we can talk about today. Not only did we get kind of the biggest news that we've gotten for the 25th anniversary, in my opinion. For those of you that don't remember, this is the 25th anniversary of Pokemon, but also I've got a little bit of going over just the product schedule because Pokemon did release information. Again, it's not necessarily new information, it's more reminders, but I think it's good to keep people on the radar of things, and then we'll talk about the meta as well as we often do, because, you know, this is the second week now. We just finished up the second weekend of Chilling Reign, and so some things have changed, but also some things haven't really changed, so we're going to talk a bit about that. But Sean, take it away. Let's talk about our 5-star review today. Oh, wait, Sean's not here. I'm just kidding. I knew that the whole time. We do have a 5-star review this week. It's actually kind of cool because we have officially on Apple, at least, because Spotify, I don't think you can get ratings for the podcast. But over on Apple Podcasts, we have received 41 ratings. Now, I think according to how I see the charts, it looks like 40 of the 41 reviews are 5 stars. So thank you so much for everyone's support. This has been a lot of stuff. We came in this week with another new review, so I super appreciate it as well. And let's try to aim for that 50. You know, 50 is a big number when it comes to podcast reviews. There's not a lot of Pokemon podcasts out there in general that have 50 reviews, so getting that would be a huge milestone. So please, even if you don't like the podcast, you know, you enjoy the podcast, whether that's on here, Apple or YouTube or whatever, please leave us a nice old review or even a mean review if you want to give us advice. I'm always up to try to build up the podcast and, you know, try to better the podcast. So your reviews, whether they're 5-star or 1-star, they help out immensely, especially if you leave us feedback on what we could be doing. I don't know if I have a certain incentive. I know when we said 25, we were like, oh, we could have an incentive or something like that. I don't know if I could do that for 50. I don't know what we could do. But if you want to leave us some ideas, feel free to let Sean, myself know, whether that's in the review or in a comment or something somewhere about that review. But let's just go right into the nitty gritty here for you today. Casey Dilla, fantastic Pokemon podcast, 5 stars. Thank you so much. Amazing Pokemon TCG podcast hosted by amazing people. Jake and Sean do a fantastic job breaking down the game due to a level that anyone can follow and are great at making the game approachable for all skill levels. They cover everything from recent competitive results to where to start and products to buy, all while processing it in fun, enthusiastic ways. Would recommend to any new players as well as any players who may not want to play every day but want to keep up as events return. And truthfully, Casey Dilla, first off, thank you so much for the excellent 5-star review. That's exactly what I want to make the Metapod podcast for anyone who doesn't know. I don't want this to be just competitive because that's not exactly what all Sean and I are. Sean and I do like competitive. We do like playing the card game, but especially as of late, we've become collectors as well. Sean and I have cards that we love, cards that we want to collect. You know, and a lot of people also are like that. I'm sure even if you're a player, right, you probably have a favorite card. You probably have that card that is near and dear in your heart in your collection, whether that's a trophy card, whether that's, you know, a Hidden Fates card or that shiny Charizard VMAX or whatever. I'm sure everybody has that collective aspect to them somewhere, whether that's big or small. So we want to try to adhere to all of those people, give you a little bit of everything. You know, if we just hear about the meta every single week, especially as we know, you know, before new sets release, you know, at the end of battle styles for the last 3 weeks, it kind of felt like the same thing over and over. And if we had talked about the meta every single week during that time, it would kind of start to feel really, really repetitive. And you know, people don't like hearing the same thing over and over, right? A broken record. So that's kind of how we've tried to spin this. I'm very happy that there's so many people enjoying this, and I hope that we can get so many more people that enjoy it. So tell your friends if they're into the podcast and things like that. But aside from that, aside from the good wonders of all of these people listening, there was a lot of stuff. There was a lot of stuff that was announced. We're actually going to be showing you a lot of these things that were announced as well. So if you're unaware, I'm uploading these episodes over to my YouTube channel and stuff, especially if you want to get a look at the specific things that we're talking about, because we do have some unreleased card arts that have been shown to us, which are really, really cool, and I think a lot of people are going to like them. Make sure to go check out my YouTube at Atrocious Gameplay. It should be in the show notes. I think Sean puts my YouTube channel in the show notes because he's awesome at what he does, so I super appreciate that. But let's move on to the big news. We found out officially what our 25th anniversary set is. It is called Pokemon Celebrations. Now, it's kind of weird. People that have been here a while may have, at least in the card game, may be aware of like Pokemon Generations from several years ago. I believe that was the anniversary set 5 years ago, so the 20th anniversary set. And so I just want to say Generations, Celebrations, you heard it here first. 30th anniversary, the final year of Pokemon, graduation. I'm just kidding. That probably won't happen. Pokemon's going to be around for a long time. But anyways, back to what's actually important. The 25th anniversary set will feature remakes of past gimmicks and past mechanics in the Pokemon trading card game. Now, this is something that is crazy. It has officially been revealed, and for now we've seen a lot of things such as promo cards in the set. Now down here you're able to see a lot of these promo cards, and some of you that may be in the trading card game for a while or maybe have been jumping into the retro scene in terms of watching like Pokemon Revolutions or PokeRev, Logan Paul, Ando, like all those people that open up these old nostalgic cards, you're going to recognize a lot of these mechanics. And so I'm going to go over some of them real quick for anyone who may not know. And honestly, even if you do know, these things are really exciting because these are things that I really wanted them to bring back. So let's go over them a little bit one by one first, and then I'll kind of show you a little bit. These are card reveals that came out in Brazil. Brazil released all of these promo cards that I will be showing you all for today. But actually, before we go over them, I just want to tell people right now, we don't think that these cards are going to be legal. Now, when we hear past mechanics, when we hear old gimmicks of the Pokemon trading card game, a lot of people may think, like, how is that going to work? Like, how is that going to fit in this VMAX era that we have today, in this VMAX era that we have? And although it's a little bit hard to tell, there is assumptions that in the like little thing down below in these cards, it's really hard to zoom in because these are not like super high res big images for those of you watching on YouTube. Somewhere around down here, it says something along the lines of not legal for tournament play. And then obviously with some of these abilities and things like that, or even other things, they don't really work in how the game is structured today. So we are assuming as of right now that these cards are not officially legal. And I believe Mia over at the Pokemon Company, well, she's not at the Pokemon Company. She works for the Pokemon Company. I think she came out on Twitter and said that these cards will not be legal. They'll just be kind of like a collector's thing, if you will. So let's just go over all of them real quick. We don't really need to go over their attacks or anything like that. We'll just kind of go over what the cards are. So one of the mechanics that is coming back is Prime Pokemon. So this is one in the Heart Gold, Soul Silver era that a lot of people are really, really excited about. Dragapult Prime is one of the promos that has been announced. So Dragapult Prime, Dragapult, the Pokemon that has a VMAX already and now is getting even more attention. It's one of the more popular Gen 8 Pokemon, so this doesn't surprise me at all. But the sinister psychic Pokemon, that Dragapult Prime, very, very cool in that aspect. Another one that is coming back, one of my personal favorites, to be honest, is the Delta species. So For anyone who doesn't know, I believe it was like Fire Red, Leaf Green, Emerald, Ruby, Sapphire era, Delta species was around and making their way. Just Pokemon that had different typings to what they were in sort of the canon of the original game. So like, for example, this Mimikyu Delta species right here is a water Pokemon. Mimikyu, I believe, is Ghost and Fairy. I think it's Ghost and Fairy in like the original canon, but either way, whether it's Ghost or Fairy or whatever it is, it's definitely not a water Pokemon. And I think a lot of people will have that consensus. Water, ice, none of those things usually. So this is a really cool mechanic that I love to see come back. I love the Delta species cards. I have several of them from when I was a kid, and they're very nostalgic to me. One of the ones that came in the earlier sets of the Pokemon trading card game, Light Pokemon. So if you maybe can't tell, there's Light Pokemon in the Pokemon trading card game from, I believe it was like the late Kanto area, early Johto era. So somewhere in that mix between generations 1 and 2. But this is a Light Toxtricity that we have here. Really, really cool card, and actually a very fitting Pokemon, in my opinion. Toxtricity being that electric Pokemon that it is, kind of really fits well with the light. We have, I'm sorry, not level X Pokemon. This is Hydreigon C. So this is Iris's Hydreigon Pokemon. Very, very cool. This was, I think, during Diamond and Pearl. I could be wrong about that, or it could be Unova. Around this area, I'm a little bit hazy on these things, but the SP Pokemon coming in. Hydreigon, a very, very wonderful Pokemon from Gen 5 that a lot of people love. And it's very, very interesting, again, that they're bringing back all these mechanics. I kind of hinted at it earlier, but Zacian level X is also going to be here. There used to be Pokemon and cards that had levels on them. I believe this was actually during Gen 4 that this was going on. But a big thing that we also want to note, going back to that these Pokemon are probably not legal to play, is because of the Pokebody. So Pokebody was something in the era specific during, like, I believe Heart Gold and Soul Silver, Diamond and Pearl. That era of cards had these Pokebodies, which we kind of now know as abilities. They work a little bit different than abilities, but for people who haven't been around the game for a long time, or maybe are a little bit newer to the game, this is something easy to compare to help you understand. So interesting to see, especially these newer Pokemon getting these, attachments to old cards. I'm actually curious to see, for anyone who does like drafts or cubes or something like that, when you get your hands on these promos, do you add this to your cubes? Will people add these to their cubes, their drafts, their things like that? So then they're able to play with those in their own way that are not official formats. Because I know there's a good chunk of people in the community that love having these like custom formats or these custom things, and it's really cool to see all of these products come out. We also have a little bit of some product stuff as well. This will retail for $15. This is going to be I believe like just a coin collection thing. You get an oversized promo of the Dragapult Prime as well as 3 packs. This is interesting as it shows not only I keep wanting to say generations, but celebrations packs, but also it has other things in it like Vivid Voltage. For usually holiday sets, we don't necessarily always see like old, regular seasoned expansions. So for instance, Champion's Path. Those double boxes had only Champion's Path in them, I believe. You get your pin collection from Shining Fates. Those Mad Party pin collections. I believe those only had Shining Fates packs. So it's interesting from the Pokemon Company to throw in these kind of older packs. And I really wonder if this is to combat like scalping. When Shining Fates released, when Hidden Fates released, when Champion's Path released, packs were absurdly high. Like almost $7 to $10 out on the secondary market, whether that was from stores themselves or just random scalper eBay sellers online. I wonder if adding something like a Vivid Voltage, you know, a set that originally had popularity, but then kind of died down and is not necessarily a hyped up set, or maybe something like Battle Styles, adding packs in those, if that is going to combat a little bit of scalping. Because for those of you that don't know, this is just a little tidbit that was shared in my Discord earlier today, my Discord server that I have. Battle Styles booster boxes are like $90 right now. So if you love Battle Styles, maybe you want some more cards for Battle Styles, and maybe you're just looking for cheap packs to open up, Battle Styles is as cheap as you're going to get. And honestly, with the longevity of that set, even if you're a player, if you also like cracking packs as a lot of other people do, this is the perfect set for you. You're going to be able to get playable cards for a long time. Now, whether you get good pulls, that is another question. But for instance, if you open up a Rapid Striker Shifu VMAX, it's going to be around for a long time. In comparison to a year ago, if you wanted to buy a Crimson Invasion set, not only is it really cheap, Crimson Invasion, and not only is it not very hype, but there weren't a lot of good cards in Crimson Invasion besides like Secret Rare Energy and maybe 2 full art supporters. So that's kind of the interesting thing about this set, is they're adding relevant packs. Now, things could change by all means before we get to its release in, I believe it was like October, that the 25th anniversary set is going to release, somewhere around that time. But it's interesting that they're still going to throw relatively recent packs. And the other thing that we got that's going to retail for $20 is going to be Celebration Lance's Charizard V and Dark Sylveon V boxes. So there are going to be new V cards. So this is the kind of the interesting aspect that I am most curious about. A lot of these other cards are not able to be played, right? These are past former gimmicks. Prime, Delta, Light, Pokemon SP, Level X. These are Pokemon that are specifically V. Now, Lance's Charizard V is a V Pokemon, sure, but it is also one of the trainer Pokemon that were around way back in the early eras. I think this was also sort of like between Gen 1 and Gen 2 that this was going on, where you have things like Erica's Vileplume, or Lieutenant Surge's Raichu, or Blaine's Charizard is the popular one that people gravitate towards. I think Lance's Charizard is an interesting idea of something that could actually be in the standard format because it's a V card, right? Sure, it's got Lance's thing in front of it, but that's kind of just a name. That's kind of just a category, right? Especially if Lance's Charizard V is a basic Pokemon maybe, and doesn't have a requirement from like a Lance's Charmeleon or something, even though Vs can just be played down by themselves. I don't know. I'm just thinking outside the box over here. I think this and the Dark Sylveon V could be something that's actually playable. I don't know. Maybe they break out of that form of, you know, the past gimmicks are not playable, but this is a present gimmick. And it's during the rotation, so who knows? Maybe it is allowed, but the dark Pokemon coming back as well. I showed you the light Pokemon earlier with the Toxtricity. Now getting into the dark. So very, very cool. And then also coming out in October, we have a $20 Zacian Level X box that's going to feature Chilling Reign in it. Ping collection box here. You'll get 6 packs, 4 celebrations, a Chilling Reign, and then a Vivid Voltage as of right now. So again, going back to those recent sets, I don't know. It seems kind of interesting in my personal opinion. Maybe these have Evolving Skies in them. I don't know. Maybe these are just placeholder packs just to put in. These are placeholder packs to put in. They could always change. We've seen the Pokemon Company before feature something right away that has X packs in it, but then like a couple weeks before release, we find out that it has different packs in them. They change their mind just based on what's around and what they think is a good idea. So we never know. But also, I forgot to point this out, but these boxes, these Dark Sylveon V boxes, have battle styles. This is the Empoleon in the battle styles pack arts that are right here. I'm not 100% sure what this is right here. I feel like this could be Orbital VMAX and Vivid Voltage, but I could be mistaken. And this has the same packs as well on it. So I feel like this is a pretty good indicator that these are going to have, you know, battle styles and vivid voltage in it as well. But also, of course, not only are we going to have the Celebrations Elite Trainer Box, which is going to be absurdly expensive on the secondary market, as these Elite Trainer boxes that are holiday sets usually go for. This will retail at $50. And it's going to be featuring a special promo card. They recently started putting in special promo cards with their Elite Trainer boxes, especially the holiday ones. You know, the Charizard V Full Art. We have the EV Max. We have Hidden Fates Stained Glass Bird Trio alternate art, which was beautiful. This is going to have a special foil card featuring Greninja Star. Now, I believe that this means Gold Star Greninja, not just Star Greninja. But if we go down here, not a lot of details left of this item, but the Pokemon Center version, which we can assume will have maybe a couple more packs in them, maybe some extra stuff, you know, in terms of like heftier dice, things like that. I believe the Pokemon Center versions of the ETBs that have been releasing for like Chilling Reign stuff have been like more interesting dice, like the TC Evolutions ones that are metal and have more damage counters. Also, we're going to be getting those tins, as some of you may remember, but this is going to be a little bit different. These tins that retail for $9 in October will have 2 Celebrations 4-card booster packs. I think Sean and I talked about this previously on the podcast, but the 25th anniversary said we find out a lot of these products are going to have a mix of these 4-card packs and then also like regular booster packs. So this will be very, very interesting on how this plays out as well. And it comes along with a coin with the arts that are in this as well. There are 8 versions. Yes, count very, very fast. There's 8 versions. If you're watching this on like YouTube, I covered up this first one, which is the Gen 1ers one. This goes through all the generations of the starters, basically. So very, very appealing, I would say. Some of the final products that we'll have in Celebrations that we know of right now is Pikachu V Union. So this is another reason why I think some of these promo cards will be legal, and that is we are getting a V Union. This set will be very, very fresh. We're assuming that this era, this style of cards is going to be coming out in Evolving Skies, this V Union mechanics. So Celebrations is going to be very, very interesting. We're going to be able to get a Pikachu V Union, brand new V Union on top of that is fresh in the standard format. So I have no reason to believe why this wouldn't be legal in my personal opinion. This will retail for $30 getting the Pikachu V Union. It'll feature also, you know, some of the packs, but also I think it's going to have 4 packs in it. It's going to have the 4-card celebration packs, 2 of those, Battle Styles and Darkness Ablaze as of this image. Again, the packs in the image are not necessarily foil. Or, I mean, are not necessarily final. That's what I meant to say. They're definitely going to be foil, but not final. And then we have kind of the figures. So if you don't remember, I think it was Hidden Fates, there was like the Rayquaza like figure statue or something like that. Or even then they had these like big boxes. I think Rayquaza, no, I think it was Zoroark and Metagross had Hidden Fates boxes that had like this big Pokeball in it that you could get with your box. I actually have one of the Pokeballs there because I had bought a Zoroark one because I like the Zoroark shiny very, very much. But this will be interesting. It'll have a promo card featuring Pikachu V Max, a promo card featuring Pikachu V. This is very interesting because I wonder if this is the Pikachu V Max that is the Hugging V Max. So out in Japan, we got a Pikachu V Max that's got its like hands up. A lot of people call it the Hugging V Max Pikachu. And it's very, very popular. It was very, very sought out when it first came out. I think that this is going to be that Pikachu. You heard it here first. I think that this is going to be that Pikachu that comes in this box. And then I don't know what the Pikachu V is going to be. I hope that it's a new Pikachu V, although that'll be like the 4th Pikachu V. You could have 4 one-ofs, I think, with different Pikachu Vs if this happens to be different. But anyways, that's not in the meat and potatoes of this product. The meat and potatoes is going to be the Giganta Max Pikachu super size figure. That's right. That's what this Chonkachu is kind of. I'm sure it's maybe a little bit different or looks a little bit different than this. But you are going to get a giant figure of Pikachu V Max, which is very cool in my opinion. I think this is going to be very, very sought after personally. But it's going to have a bunch of different packs in it, including 11 total packs. 11 total packs. 8 of the 4-card Celebrations packs, and then 3 regular packs, which as of right now I think is Battle Styles, Vivid Voltage, and Chilling Rain in this. I think I like this product a lot the best. This is going to retail at $50. Pokemon figures are pretty nice figures in my personal opinion. You're going to get 2 promo cards in that, along with 8 of these booster packs from Celebrations, which I think is pretty doggone good. And then also 3 packs on top of that. So, honestly, doesn't sound like a super bad deal in my opinion, especially because on the secondary market, I think that these packs are going to be worth probably about the same amount as a regular like Battle Styles booster pack would be. So if we go 4 times 8, that's 32 plus, oh gosh, I did this wrong. Why don't we just go 4 times 11? 4 times 11, because there's 11 packs, is $44. That leaves $6 left at MSRP market price to hold not only the Giganta Max Pikachu, but also these 2 promo cards. I think that's incredible value. And now, MSRP, if there was an MSRP tag on these packs, it's probably not going to be, $4 per pack. But I think that's a good assumption because when you're going to try to get these at a secondary store, that's probably what's going to be charged. And then we've got a couple other things as well, including a collector's chest, kind of this lunchbox thing that'll come with a couple different promo cards, the Mimikyu, the Toxtricity, the Hydreigon, as well as the Ultra Premium Collection. This one is very interesting. Now, you can't really see it on YouTube. There you go. You can a little bit. This will be releasing late October. This will be $120. $120. 2 commemorative metal cards featuring base set Pikachu and base set Charizard. Well, we just found out exactly why it's considered $120. Now, these will be metal cards probably of the original versions, the chonky base set Pikachu, where people try to go for the, bright cheeked Pikachu and, the original Charizard that everybody talks about with money. These will probably be metal replicas of these cards. Also, a special gold version of Pikachu V. That's pretty sick in my opinion, my personal opinion. 1 special gold version of Pokeball. Now, I don't know if there's a lot of clarification in this. I don't know if this is talking about like a gold Pokeball. So, like Pokemon releases those Pokeball tins that are like the Great Ball, the Ultra Ball, the Dusk Ball, the Premier Ball, like those tin things. I don't know if it's going to be like a gold version of that, or if this is just going to be like a Pokeball card. Like we have Pokeball in the standard format. This will just be a gold item card that you can use. I'm not 100% sure. But it also comes with a Charizard and Pikachu enamel pin and a 1 anniversary themed metal coin. 25th anniversary metal coin, probably just going to have this logo right here. Pretty cool in my personal opinion still. And then 17 booster packs along with it of Celebrations, along with the player's guide for all the new players. This product reveal, this anniversary reveal is incredible in my personal opinion. This is also going to be something that's very, very difficult to be able to get on the shelves. I think there's a no-brainer in saying if you don't get there on release day or you don't fill in your pre-orders, right, you're probably not going to get these. I'm probably not going to be able to open up a lot of this unless I get very fortunate. But this is a really cool thing that I think the Pokemon Company has done. People have been saying over and over and over, man, I wish we had these old cards, like bring back Delta Species. I've heard some people say, bring back like these level X's or these primes in some form or fashion. So I think I think giving those back and giving those people the nostalgia, because I think they've realized, I think they're very aware about the retro market right now and how that's doing. I think that this is the perfect balance between like giving these people exactly what they want, but not doing something that's kind of like killing the standard format, you know, like just absolutely beating up and throwing these weird cards that come in through this. Now, I didn't have this article pulled up, but I want to kind of go over one card that was revealed that I'm not 100% sure that I'm finding right now. This is a very, very interesting. There is a new Mew coming out. I think I tweeted about this. If we're going to take a gander scrolling on my Twitter, I'll talk about it a little bit as I find it. There's a new Mew coming out. I can't remember exactly when, which is another reason why I'm going to try to find it, because I can't exactly remember when it was. But there is a Mew coming out that is going to be actually incredible. So this Mew that you're seeing, I'm going to try to put it in a way that you can see the ability. Say hi to Longleg Darkrai. You're welcome. Mew from Celebrations, ability Mystery Tail. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in the active position, you may look at the top 6 cards from your deck. Choose an item card you find there, reveal it, and put it in your hand. Then shuffle the other cards into your deck. So this is very, very similar to Jirachi. Jirachi from Team Up, for anyone who doesn't know, is a broken card. It's still around in the standard format, but it reigned dominance all over up until around the point that Dragapult came around in the format. And now, right now, we have a ton of sniping in the format as well as boss. So Jirachi isn't as prevalent anymore, but very, very cool card in this. Even better than Jirachi. I believe Jirachi was look at the top 5 cards of your deck and choose a trainer card. This is the top 6 cards and use an item card as well, which could be very advantageous to some builds of decks. And also, this Pokemon doesn't go to sleep. So that's another interesting thing about it. It has a 1 retreat cost, just like Jirachi did, but a very, very cool card that's coming in the 25th anniversary set that we have found out in Japan as well, that hopefully is coming into the rest of the world. I would love for this card to be in standard. I think it'd be very, very nice, but we'll just have to wait and see. Moving on to kind of the next part, I need to mosey along with these other kind of things. I spent a lot longer in Celebrations than I really anticipated. The Marnie Premium Collection box, which we've mentioned before on the podcast, is like the milk carton looking thing of Marnie, getting that new Marnie promo card that came out in Japan with the signatures. We are going to be getting that. That is coming out, just a reminder, on August 6th. That was confirmed by the Pokemon Company on Twitter, again, just very recently. And then also the Trainer's Toolkit. This is off of PokeGuardian.com, so these are hyperlinked to like the specific articles of those products that came out if you want to learn more about them. But I think these are both going to be really good products that I think that you should be into and you should get yourself, especially if you are a newer player during the quarantine era, or maybe you just, it's been a while since you've really gotten cards and you've kind of steered away a little bit from the trading card game. And then also Shadow Rider and Ice Rider V boxes coming out August 6th as well. So that's kind of something that I wanted to note as well. You know, we get the hype up for Evolving Skies coming out in late August. We get the hype of like Celebrations coming out in October. There's a couple more things that are going to come out that I think just need to be on people's radars as of right now. So that's all I want to talk about in terms of products today. So let's move into the meta. Let's shift our focus into the meta. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you're probably looking at our screen right now and you're like, oh my God. And I just want to let everybody know, do not be alarmed. As I mentioned before, this is the second weekend. This is the second weekend of Chilling Reign meta. Still very, very raw. We said that last week. I hold myself to that this week. Although metas somewhat accelerate, right, in the online meta because there's an abundance of tournaments and things like that, I still think this meta is very, very raw. Now, if you're looking at this image, this is from the Sunday Open that happened just this past weekend on Sunday. kind of the I don't want to say surefire, but kind of the official finalizer of week 2, in my personal opinion. There's a lot of Shadow Calyrex Rider VMAX in here. Out of these top 15 spots, 1, 2, 3, 4 decks out of the top 16 don't use Shadow Calyrex Rider VMAX. Say that 5 times fast. Shadow Calyrex Rider VMAX, along with the different pairs that it could have, whether that's the solo build of itself, whether that is the Alcremie VMAX build, or the like Trevenant Dusknoir, kind of like psychic package deck around. Regardless of what it is, Shadow Calyrex Rider VMAX is a good card. Now, a lot of people are starting to scream that it's an unhealthy card. And to that, I say, stop that. Stop that. This happens almost every single set when a brand new deck comes out. Dragapult ran the tables when it first came out in Rebel Clash. Eternatus ran the tables the first couple weeks in the release of Darkness Ablaze. Rapid Strike Urshifu. I wish Single Strike was good, but it's not. Rapid Strike Urshifu ran the tables when Battle Styles released. Now we are seeing Shadow Calyrex Rider do this. It's a very good card that's had a lot of good support. And honestly, Chilling Reign has had just a lot of good support in general for a lot of different decks. Plus, we have to factor in that Shadow Calyrex Rider, as I mentioned, one of the more popular decks to be out right now, has taken almost half of any other deck, at least in the Sunday Open. Yes, it did win a lot. It had a very good win rate of 57%, but it wasn't the best performing deck that had, more than 2 people. Calyrex Alcremie VMAX, which goes back to the Shadow Rider Calyrex, which again goes back to my statement of, look, there's more. 46 if you look at this right here. And then that doesn't even count the other decks. How many of these other decks were Shadow Calyrex Rider VMAXs, but just had a bunch of other stuff in them that it wasn't? What the heck is this? This is interesting. And just a Rapid Strike deck with a Rapid Strike box. This is a very interesting list that has now caught my attention. There's a lot going on this list. There's absolutely a lot going on. You have somewhat of consistency with Octillery here, and you have a lot of these Rapid Strike supporters, but holy bejeebers. This is a lot going on. This deck went 3-2-1. That's not that bad, actually. That's not that bad compared to what I was thinking. Anyways, what I'm saying is I don't think you have to worry about this too much, because here's another thing that I kind of want to talk about. Shadow Calyrex Rider did really, really well, right? Did really, really well. Oops, that wasn't what I was trying to click. Forgot that I have to really scroll down to find the deck, and even then I'm not 100% sure. I think it was this one. No, it was not this one. Nope, wasn't Pokestats. Where did that go? Here it is. This is a tournament that happened this past week as well, the Limitless Invitational 2021. And in that, there were 4 Decidueye decks within the top 6. I believe this was Chilling Reign legal, because this did have the Inteleon line with the Sharpshooter. But it's all about the meta right now, right? I am positive in the fact that this Decidueye deck can beat Shadow Calyrex Rider. All right, Decidueye, we've known this card for a little bit now. Came out in a couple different sets, including Darkness Ablaze and Shining Fates. Very, very good, especially now with this Inteleon right here, being able to use quick shooting and then having the consistency of getting Pokemon. It's all about what is just played that day, right? I think it's really just all about what is played that day. These decks right here, Decidueye being an afterthought. When Battle Styles released, or maybe at the first weekend of the Chilling Reign meta, we were like, oh man, Decidueye is finished. But look at here. It did really well here. Now, it maybe didn't do so well in the other tournament, but that's just how the nature of these online tournaments go. I would very much hope that people continue to stay in the meta, continue to play. I actually think Chilling Reign is much better than Battle Styles. You've heard me say here on the podcast that Battle Styles, I think, is a pretty good set in terms of competitive in the meta. I think it's done a lot of great things. I think Chilling Reign's no different. If anything, I think Chilling Reign made it better. I think it's a really good example from Andrew Mahone Tricky Jim. He said this earlier today on stream, today being Monday, when he was playing his single strike Urshifu baby deck. He said that Chilling Reign has brought the ability to have smaller Pokemon excel, you know, like these one prize Pokemon excel, and just a good more variety of these decks, refreshing decks to have fun with. Think of the last time that we had a set that allowed a whole bunch of decks to thrive and be a part of the meta. You know, we have Shadow Calyrex Rider that I've mentioned. We have this Inteleon that's in so many different builds. We have these weird, interesting ADP Moltres decks, which I don't even know. We have Ice Rider VMAX right here. We have the Malamar Rapid Strike. Just a whole bunch of different things have come out and just have made this meta feel refreshing. I also just want to point out, this isn't to call a single player or anything like that, but I've noticed this interesting thing that's popped up with people implementing, you know, Moltres V, and I'm sure this Moltres V has a lot of different value, but at the surface level of it all, a lot of people just think that this Moltres V right here is the ender to the Shadow Calyrex Rider VMAX, and I just want to say that it's not. The same reason that this Zapdos is not just the ender of Eternatus decks. It's a help. It could actually do well for you, especially when you have something like ADP that can accelerate energies very, very, very quickly, and something like Energy Switch as well. But at the end of the day, I think this is a really good example. It doesn't win you the games, all right? This is a player that had the deck. Again, it's not to call them out. I just kind of want to show something, you know. You would think with more Galarian Moltres than Zacian, on paper, this is a good idea, right? This is how we're going to beat Shadow Calyrex Rider VMAX. But in a majority of the matches against Shadow Calyrex Rider VMAX, 3 of the 4 specifically, it didn't get them the win. Now, there are other factors that go along with this, such as maybe like the Trevenant Dusknoir just being super oppressive, the Cresselias, this Alcremie VMAX line that's in this specific list at least. There's a lot of different factors that go into matchups. And so, especially, you know, if you're a deck, here's the biggest thing. I've mentioned this on the podcast before as well. Don't be afraid to take a loss to a specific matchup. And what I mean by that is if the matchup, so let's say the ADP matchup on paper is just incredibly unfavorable to Shadow Calyrex Rider VMAX. You know, where we were before ADP, all right, because now we're in an online meta that is constantly evolving and constantly changing. Shadow Calyrex Rider, as well as being immature, is a lot different than ADP. So I don't think we can consider it as oppressive as ADP, because it hasn't really made people switch up deck building in the essence that Arceus Dialga Palkia has. So without that, take an L to a deck. If you can't counter all the meta decks that are out right now, you know, you can't counter Shadow Rex, VMAX, ADP, Pikarom, Eternatus, Ice Rider, VMAX. Like, you can't Decidueye, like, you can't beat all of those decks, right? A deck is not going to be able to beat every single one. It just doesn't work like that. There's not enough cards that are able to go into a deck to be able to do that. So, take an L to one. All right, since the Shadow Calyrex Rider is the worst matchup that I have, you know, 10 out of 10 times I'll always lose that matchup. Just take the L to it. Make your deck more consistent and better to beat all your other matchups. than rather just really trying to spread yourself out too thin. Now, I will say, this person did really, really well in the event. They did much better than I probably would have done with this Moltres ADP build. 11th, literally top 15 in this event. That is very, very impressive in an event that has 262 people. It's pretty good in my opinion. But I'm trying to get the general gist of people are just throwing things in to make a big box. And I don't think boxes work right now, is what I'm really trying to get at. But that is going to be all for today's episode. I'm surprised I went this long, actually, with just talking to myself. It's always a little bit hard to talk to yourself when you're on a podcast, especially when a majority of the weeks you're bouncing things off. I mean, Sean and I can talk about forever about specific things. I mean, sometimes he doesn't really want to talk about forever, but some things. But Sean's great. I can't wait to have him back. Thank you all so much for listening and watching the Metapod. If you're watching this on YouTube or some other platform that I may post this on, I'm not 100% sure. But thank you again so much for watching, listening. Leave us a review if you like the podcast, or maybe you don't like the podcast, whichever you decide. Just leave us a review. Honesty is the best policy, and it's hard to grow the podcast when we're not getting constant feedback. So would really love it if we could push towards 50 things. I think if everybody, I've looked at the statistics, if everybody that has not left a review that listens to our podcast every single week, if every single person that hasn't left a review yet just listed a review, we would be over 50 easily. We'd be over 50 easily. I think you'd be surprised of how many people listen to our podcast and enjoy our content. And we super appreciate all of you so, so much. Thank you so much again for listening to the Metapod, the podcast that revolves around the evolving meta. I'm Jake. Sean's not here, and have a great rest of your day.